Yes, guys. Welcome to ThreeTings. I think this is number 36 now. Hope all was well on the bank holiday weekend. Hope you enjoyed the festivities, so on and so forth. Today, what did I want to speak on? Right. So first off I wanted to speak on Operation Restoring Justice, which is the UK Reform Party's plan for dealing with the migrant boat crossing issue and just immigration in general that's illegal. Secondly, I'd like to talk about the Notting Hill Carnival and the facial recognition. And lastly, just like all-rounders, I think that might have been received well, so I guess we'll touch on it again, yeah, that section, right? So just to let you know where I'm going off with this, let me give you guys a quick article that I've been looking at. This one is picked up by GB News, so I'll just read it to you just briefly, the first part. So Richard Tice has hailed Reform UK leader Nigel Farage's plan to crack down on illegal migration, branding the policy common sense. Speaking to the GB News, the party's deputy leader declared the nation should protect its borders and should only welcome those who have come legally. Detailing his party's plan to tackle the migrant crisis, Mr Farage stated, "We will, for a 5-year period, disapply the 1951 Refugee Convention and any other barriers that can be used by lawyers in this country to prevent deportations, to prevent the right thing from happening." So, quite stern words from potentially the next Prime Minister. I just really wanted to say, what was I really thinking? To be honest with you, I was thinking this. There's a saying, ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure, yeah? To me, this idea, this whole sort of detaining people, then hoping they'll go to certain countries, or they'll be repatriated back to their home countries, to me, that is secondary. And what should be primary is prevention. There was no talk of prevention. You prevent the issue, that's the biggest saving that the country could go through. Biggest saving, best way to cut cost, and also protects who's most vulnerable, man, the women and children. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? You don't even give them a chance to disrespect your women and children. So for me, it's not soft. It's very polite, it's very humane, you could say. It will go by the letter of the law, but to me, I think prevention is the best cure here. It should be to stop people even being able to come into the country, So, good report, good what he said, but to me, I would like to hear a little bit more talk on prevention. Because at the moment, according to what's been said today, they have no idea on where they're going to detain these extra people. Zia Youssef has said he's the chair. He's very good with the numbers. Very, very good with the numbers. I'll give you that. Very good. He's like their star man, actually, I've realised today. And he's very good with his numbers. Very good at maths, yeah. However, he did say, 6 to 600,000 people could be in this country illegally. They say there's 60 million people, but for all we know, there could be 90. How do we know? So he's taken a figure, not out of the sky, it's well estimated, but he doesn't actually know the actual number. And he's done his figures off of a number that they've had to sort of guesstimate. Yeah, so you're not really too sure on how many people there are out there, yeah? Now, they say they're going to detain these people immediately, but, how are they going to run around and detain 600,000 people over 5 years? You don't know. People can become elusive, change names, do whatever, because they're fighting for survival, right? They might want to stay here and just make a life here. So to detain these people, how, you know? Also, you know, I'm looking for loopholes because, you know, it's a serious subject. It was a good idea, something I would go with really, but I just think like the issues that can be encountered. The first issue would be this, right? The most common countries, according to BBC News today, the most common countries for migrant boat crossings since 2020 are Syria, Eritrea, Iran and Sudan. Now, that being said, Sudan currently like at war. People are escaping this country due to war, yeah. Syria, politically unstable. You could say they've left for matters of persecution, right? You've got Eritrea. There's a massive issue there with like human slavery. There's still a lot of slavery going on. Up to 10% of their population at any one time is made to work without remuneration and is basically a slave, right? And then you've got Iran, which is big in the news at the moment. Once again, politically unstable, socially unstable. So these four countries are the most common. And I've just learned today that literally 9 out of 10 people that do come over, especially say from Afghanistan, they're not even Afghanistan women, they're men, they're fighting age men. The 90% of the migrant crossings are fighting age men coming from basically war-torn backgrounds. Yeah, so that being said, I suppose a lot of them will be deported, right? But can you imagine like the legalities of it all? Yeah. Like, can you imagine like, you know, somebody comes, you know, Mr. A comes from wherever, he lands in this country, he's going to claim political asylum, he's going to claim that he can't go back to his country because he'll be, obviously, like, his safety is not guaranteed in his home country, and this is why he's come over here. He's never going to be guaranteed. So that's going to have to go through court, it's going to have to go through all type of litigation, and the cost to the taxpayer, it's going to take years for that to be done. Just not overnight someone's going to be able to just be sent back, you know. So for me, it still presents a lot of trouble, a lot of problems, and you know, people are quite smart. They'll learn how to navigate, and they could still be here for years detained, which has its issues as well, because, you know, you're imprisoning people basically that deserve to be free, I suppose, you know. And that means they're going to have to be let out onto the streets of Britain at some stage if you can't sort of get them deported or their court case is impending, you know. So to me, it still presents a lot of issues that Britain could do without, and I think prevention would suffice over just finding a place for these people to be that you've not even envisaged in your imagination to put down into this report yet, you know. So moving on, next issue is sanctions. So I'm big on this. This is another video, right, altogether, right? Because it's the new way of like sort of indebting another country to you, right? It's a massive business, right? I can just see it in my mind's eye, but I can't bother explaining it right now, yeah? But they're saying that they'll they may. He said the word they may, which I wasn't quite happy with. Yeah, I want to hear you will. Yeah, but they may impose sanctions or economic sanctions or what have you on countries that don't play ball with taking back the detainees. So that being said, I want to know how stern that's going to be. Like, if you're really going to hammer home, these countries have to sort of pay you for sending people back, or you're going to impose some hefty sanctions, because at the end of the day, like, that's a government you're imposing a sanction on, but the governments that you're talking about are already in turmoil, yeah, and they can't control their own borders. How are they going to stop people from leaving? How are they going to stop a man that wants to get up and just walk across a border or take a boat out of their country. So you can impose their sanctions all you want, but unless these sanctions really have some serious ramifications that a country will have to adhere to me that's a leaking bucket too, you know. So I don't, sanctions, it depends. If they're strictly put down, then yeah. And if you can definitely impose these sanctions that make sure you get some type of remuneration back, or this country's cut off from you or whatever economically, then yeah. But yeah, I just see it as a bit of a Pandora's box, and I'm not too sure about it. But I think the way I see it being done, like, which I can go into another video, it's a good idea, imposing sanctions upon countries, but some of the countries that you're talking about are already in tatters and may not have the governmental infrastructure to prevent someone from leaving their country. So I think, yeah, you may impose sanctions, but they'll still be coming, they'll still be leaving. Yeah. So that moves me on to this. Right, so this leads me on to my final point on this, was that I was looking at things from a, what's the man on the street, let me go into the mind of a illegal immigrant. Yeah, let me think how he's thinking, yeah. And from his perspective, or her, yeah. And to me, there's these two types of law abiders or law, yeah, right. Now, if someone puts up a traffic light, yeah, rapist, killer, whomever, right, doesn't matter, yeah, right. If you put up a traffic light, when it says green, they'll go, blah, 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 yeah. Like most people, 100% of people adhere to the traffic light system, right? And that's like law, yeah. Then you've got these other laws that, not that people flout, but they're difficult to enforce, and they're a lot more they've got a lot more gravitas attached to them than a traffic light, yeah. And what I wanted to say was, like, they put down the numbers and the figures and how they would detain these people, but for me they never looked into the emotion of a person or the individual cases of a person that's going to claim like they're from a war-torn country and they can't go back. But also, yeah, they're going to claim, no, you're not like factoring in the emotions of a person, a man that just wants to get up, make a better life, and he's not going back, you know. So just thinking people will adhere, offer themselves up for being detained, that are already here in the UK is kind of wishy-washy, and it's not going to like come through, because if I don't want to get caught, I'm going to do everything I can. So that's going to take years, you know. And with me, just for respect, like, to me, I feel like, you know, with the updating of like technology now, online bullying, etc., everybody knows like the justice system could do with like a total rewriting around sentencing guidelines, yeah, because, you know, some things we're not happy with and some things we are, yeah, right. And there are just like, to me, if I were the political godfather, right, I'm almost reluctant to write any new laws whatsoever, like anything new, if it can't be adhered to and if it can't be enforced. Or like, have you equated, right, if we enforce this law of all illegal detainees need to go back to wherever it is they were from or whatever, how many of them will just adhere to us? Will it be that out of 600,000, 200,000 of them will land on our doorstep, and then the other 400,000 will have to apprehend? Do you know what I mean? Because what happens is you'll enforce the law and maybe only 50,000 people you'll be able to detain. Yeah, but the rest will run amok. And that there, in years to come, yeah, I just feel like, respect-wise, I'm not gonna write a law I feel, if it's not going to be enforced, because I feel like I'll lose respect. So I'm better off just going with what it is and just saying we'll fix it. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't enforce something or write into law something that I don't feel can be enforced, because that's what the government does a lot nowadays. They say things and they expect people to just tacitly consent when it's not actually the way in real life. And with something trivial or sort of day-to-day law, is different to like something like this. This is someone's life. Yeah, they're not all gonna just like give themselves up. You know, it's different from like a traffic light. You know, this is something whereby my life, I need to stay here. I could be in danger if I go back to I don't want to go back. I like the system here, you know, they're going to fight. So I feel like they've come up with the numbers, they've come up with the idea. It's fantastic. But are they equating that man, the hunger in a man to like want to be here, stay here, evade capture, do anything, yeah, go through the courts and whatever else, you know? So I still feel like it leaves a lot to be desired. I liked what they said, but to me it's a very, very, very serious subject, man. It's like, it's make or break of Britain, you know? And also like, you know, the women and the children of this country, right, that are at risk. Yeah, it's something, yeah, no, you have to really pick holes in it, man. You almost have to be like, you know, like Dragon's Den, like you get a good idea, but you need to pick holes in it, man. And also turn it down if it's not good enough, you know. And to me personally, it's still not good enough, because I'm looking at prevention. Now, you know, they nicely said, oh, you know, because if we take them in, you know, and send them back to this country, we'll prevent like having poor relations with our neighbours, France, and all this sort of stuff. So they were still talking like, oh, you know, we've got to appease France and whatever else. When really, you should let France look after France and Britain take after Britain, because that's why you're pulling out of the ECHR, right? To make sure that you can impose your own rules here. I would impose the rules, but firstly, I would still put all my resources, put everything I can into prevention. Because once again, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Right, so moving on to my next thing. Notting Hill Carnival. Just quickly, man, like maybe English people and whoever. I was listening to someone on GB News today, like they didn't get the carnival, you know. Obviously carnival was, you know, going back in history, it was a day off for the slaves, but no one really looks at it that deeply anymore. It's just a street party, right? But you know, it does mean something to me as a Caribbean person. Do you know what I mean? I remember my granddad used to take me there when I was 4 or 5 years of age. Do you know what I mean? It's a cultural thing, yeah, for us, yeah. And it has to continue. Yeah, it can't just go anywhere. Maybe it can be removed and whatever else, but it can't continue. And thus far, it seems that no one was sort of lost their life, which was a great thing. And yeah, I just wanted to say, like, this facial recognition. Yeah, I didn't want to say anything before Carnival because I just didn't want to. I didn't think it was right for me to say. But to me, I think it was a bonanza for the UK authorities. Yeah, I didn't want to be mischievous and just say what I think. But like, can you imagine, like, you know, I was reading somewhere that, you know, there are databases that the authorities have of, like, say, like, you're a drill music gang or whatever. Like, they'll have a database of all your affiliates, maybe potentially pictures, names, who you're connected to, so on and so forth. From a gang perspective, yeah, they've got thousands of black boys that ain't even done a crime, potentially, sort of just on a database, just monitoring things. And if you pop up, you flag up, then, you know, obviously they'll come and maybe look into your business without you knowing, and maybe apprehend you if you're doing something wrong, right? Now, that being said, I believe, yeah, like, if you were to, can you imagine, like, you've come out with your, you know, your group of guys, your gang, whatever it is, you've left out from, I don't know, Brixton, Tottenham, wherever else, yeah, and they've got your facial recognition all the way there to Carnival now, all 30, 40, 50 of you, yeah. So how I think it can be used, negatively or positively, whichever way you want to call it, but can you imagine, like, They took DNA in the 1980s. They never had the technology yet. Yeah. Now in the year 2000, they can try that person again. The DNA is now active. They've got the technology, and now it can be proved beyond conclusion that this person was either innocent or guilty of the actual crime spoken about, right? Now, the same goes with digital forensics, right? Right now, they might have a problem in sort of identifying black men because of the dark skin and oriental because of their features or whatever, right? But as technology catches up, yeah, they're going to be able to define the individual, and they now have a database of all in one go of like quite a significant population, I would say, of urban or a lot of black men that look like me. Yeah, so let me set the scene. It's the year 2035. You've gone out without your mobile phone, you know you're doing something maybe you shouldn't, yeah? Right. They've now got facial recognition that can maybe pick up somebody just from seeing, you know, a certain section of their face. It could be their eyes, could be their lips. You could have a mask on, and it could, in time, you laugh. In time, yeah, that could narrow down who they think the individual is. Also, as well, like you've got certain types of populations that have similar features. They may be able to determine by facial recognition if someone's East African, West African, Caribbean, like all types of stuff. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of tomorrow's criminals or people that do criminal acts or whatever, that was the day that they got your photo, and that there could potentially convict you in years to come, or identify you or exonerate you, whichever way, yeah, it will be used to control. And for the most part, if you're not doing anything wrong, you should be all right. You know, there is always collateral damage of the innocent being taken, you know, so you got to factor that in. But I feel like whoever was the who's who, they got your pictures now, and they've got your images, and that'll be with you for the foreseeable, you know, and it won't be used against you, or shouldn't be, as people like to put, you know, dystopian world or whatever and all this sort of stuff. But right now, whatever laws they introduce, they can literally apprehend you or narrow you down right now. You could be picked up on a camera in any part of the country right now, or in 10, 15, maybe 20 years time, and you'll be able to be tracked down, which has its positives, you know, which I can go deeper into, man, because, like, can you imagine, like, in the future, I don't want to give away too much, man, but you could just step out onto the street. Yeah, you could be somebody that's being human trafficked or whatever, right? You step out onto the street, you do a certain signal with your body language, right? And literally, you're followed by camera and brought back to safety because you're not out of the house that often. Like, it can work wonders, but also as well, it can make you feel Big Brother style watched. And you know, no one likes that, no one really likes that, but I'm hoping it can be used for the positive. But also, as well as that, man, is it not in? I'm not going to say this, but I feel like this country, I was saying to someone, yeah, like in China, you already know they're using facial recognition and they criticise it, yeah, but I find in the UK, as I said to a Chinese person, or any Chinese person that cares to matter, right, I feel like the difference with the UK, right, they'll already be using facial recognition before they tell you, and then they'll announce it. Yeah, when China, you already know they're using it, and they don't need to announce it. So chances are it's already been in the offing, and they tell you now, you know. But chances are it's already been there. It's already been, a lot of information's been collated in the interest of national safety, which, you know, from a political perspective, you've got to adhere, you've got to say is right, you know, because if you don't harness and take in and absorb the technology, it will get into the hands of the wrong people, and they'll harness it and use it for their own benefits, you know. So that's the Notting Hill Carnival and facial recognition. Right, and the next thing I wanted to speak about, which will be the final thing, go back to another section of the all-rounders, right? I missed you out. I'm sorry, really sorry. Like, yeah, I just got too carried away. Like, I missed out all the men and all the whatever. Yeah, but let me just say, like, big up all the women that like can play the members of my family, or certain females I've had encounters with, and all the rest of it. Big up all the I have to say this now, I'm getting to that age. Big up all the gilfs and all the milfs as well, you know, that play certain characters as well, you know. And yeah, I just wanted to touch on like who plays certain characters that have been in the story of my life the best. I've got to be honest, right? Maybe it's what I'm around, but it's who I see, yeah, right? But if I was like casting in like a Hollywood film movie of my life, yeah, right, I would say the white, English, indigenous, like you'd have to, like you'd probably get a lot of the parts, yeah, plus blackface, yeah, right. And what it is, yeah, right, it's like a lot of like say African women or a lot of like foreign women from India or whatever sort of stuff, they'll look like and they'll have like certain mannerisms. No, they'll just look like people that I've that are in my family, or certain females that I've had an encounter with, but they haven't got the mannerism and they haven't got the accent and the little isms, yeah, when you guys have. And you guys get off on it as well, right? So I remember I was down Eltham and the woman sat next to me when I was drinking, right, which is a rarity, right? And this woman, yeah, she was just acting herself. She was being a bit cheeky and a bit rude, but she was just like, yeah, and all that. And she was like, I can't believe I'm just acting and I'm just being myself, right? And do you know what? Right. Do you know what? Yeah, right. She was like, she was literally like getting off on the fact that all she was being was herself, and she's just like someone that I know that is black. Yeah, right. So she was obviously getting off on it. So there's quite a few women that do that. I remember I was on a train last week, and she was white, but she had the mannerism of a black I used to know, and she was just being herself, but she knew how to like act like this female that I used to know. So you do it all the time. Yeah. And all you have to do is put a little bit of black, a little bit of tan paint on you, jump on that sunbed, curly up your hair a little bit, and you're playing certain women. And like, you know, a lot of women play my mum as well, which is you know, that's very nice. But it's a lot of like white English women that can play my mum like perfectly, just in mannerisms, the voice, just whatever, yeah. So it's welcomed, yeah, right. And you guys sort of play at it, yeah, because we are English at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? So big up. Also, I was gonna say, I feel a lot of like interest in my love life from women over the age of 50, if you know what I mean. I got on a train like the other day, right, and again, like there was a woman, she can be someone that's like a mum to me, or looks like someone I know from the past, but is white, but yeah, right. And she just looked at a woman that was near me or whatever, right, and she just looked at me and she just goes, she looked at me, no son, that woman's not for you. And then it dawned on me, I'm thinking, all these women, like, they think they own me. They think they own me. She was like, no, that's not for you. No, she's not for you. I've got something for you. All this sort of stuff, right? So, boy, I'm like, I'm stressed. I'm like, I'm single. What? Like, what, man? What can I do? Do you know what I mean? This is a woman. She just got on a train. White woman. She's got No. Right. So I'm thinking, what do I do? You know. And next. Well, lastly, big up all the milfs and the girls. I don't know what's up with you girls, man. Like, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I thought like you're giving all that up now. You know what I mean? But it seems as though like, what do you want from me? I mean, you want some, yeah? All the Neesums. Do you know what I mean? What's going on? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like you're giving me these little vibes. Do you know what I mean? You want to show a young whippersnapper how it goes and whatever else, or your game as a Bible, as they say. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but you just give me these vibes of like, I'm like, you need to like think about the grandkids and your kids and all the rest of it. You shouldn't be looking at boys like me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, where? Do you know what I mean? I never really thought about it that way, and it's not really my kink, you know, but, you know, I got too much for you. You know what I'm talking about, too much for you. Got too much carrying on with. All right, please, give it a little break. Do you know what I mean? Action, yeah, you're looking for action, yeah? You girls need to calm yourself down, you know, you've got grandchildren, children, husbands at home. Calm yourself down, please, relax. So, that concludes ThreeTings36. We're going to just summarise and say, yeah, I did like Reform's ideas. I liked them. Yeah, they were good ideas. However, what I would also say is that the numbers were a little bit wishy-washy, because there could be 90 million people here in this country. We don't know. You don't know. It seems like it, especially in London. Yeah, people on top of you, right? Facial recognition, here to stay. We need to harness it and just accept it. And yeah, ladies, MILFs, skills, or whatever, we well appreciated. Thank you very much. But my life is my life. Yeah. All right. I know what I'm doing here. I've got it all under control. All right. Anyway, take care. Deliver this message straight to your heart. Absolutely bless. Absolutely bless. Take care. Big up Channel 1 system. I see my father there in the background puffing away. Yeah, big up Raj Chubby. Yeah, all of them there. Take care, love, one, take care, bless.